Welcome to Humble Bee Home and Garden. Today we're going to prepare some fresh peach jam. I know it's summertime and everybody has an abundance of fruit, and I wanted to show how you can make fresh jam with no pectin. Stay tuned.
The items you're going to need for today's recipe is canning funnel, mason jar, lemon, peaches, sugar, ladle, and spoon. The recipe is as follows: 5 cups of peaches crushed, 12 medium to large peaches, 1 medium to large lemon, 5 cups of sugar, and 8 mason jars. So I started off with squeezing 1 fresh lemon. I cut it in half and I used my fruit squeezer or citrus squeezer. I'm pointing out the seeds that you want to make sure those are out of your recipe. We don't want those in the jam, so I just made sure I picked them out. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed with slicing up some peaches. As you can tell, you can see those mason jars sitting to my left of me, and ideally what you want to have done before you started cutting your peaches was preheat your oven to 300 degrees. I'm going to remove the tops and the lids of those mason jars, and I'm going to just stick the glass on that baking sheet into the oven at a preheated oven of 300 degrees Fahrenheit. There I go. If you can tell, on top of my stove I have just a pot full of water, and I set my stove top to low to medium heat. That's where the lids of the mason jars are going to be. The method that I use for canning is called the open kettle method, and I stick the lids in that warm pot of water as the jars are heating up, and because the lids, the jars, and the jam will be all hot, it creates a vacuum seal, and that's how you protect your food. So here I'm using a muddler to kind of crush my peaches. Ideally, I would have liked to have had a potato masher, like a manual one where you would mash the peaches with that. I felt like I left maybe a little bit too much fruit in my jam. Maybe I would have liked a little bit more liquid from the peaches, so if I would have smashed it up better, I think I would have achieved that. Although the jam came out perfectly, it was delicious, but there's always room for improvement.
So now we're on our way to cooking these peaches and starting to create our jam. At first, we're going to add the peaches to a pot. Add the lemon juice and lemon. Bring it to a full rolling boil for about 5 minutes. And then we'll add the sugar and let it simmer for a while. And then we'll be canning.
So I added my lemon juice to these crushed peaches, and I added the whole lemon. The rind of the lemon actually has pectin in it. It is just the natural thing that occurs with a lemon rind and juice. So that's why we add lemon to our recipe, is it's actually what contains the pectin, which is thickening up the jam.
And you're going to wait about 5 minutes.
I went ahead and added that sugar, and I'm just really constantly stirring at that full rolling boil As you could tell, you could see those warm lids on my stovetop briefly, but right now I'm using my canning funnel, and I went ahead and started canning or adding the jam to those hot mason jars. So I pulled those mason jars out of the oven and put them on my counter, and then I'm adding that hot jam to them, and then you'll be watching me add the lid. But I forgot to at first wipe the lids down with a damp paper towel. This is a really important step to make sure that the lids properly seal. If there's any little like pieces of peach on there, the lids might not vacuum seal. So I'm just wiping the wet lids down. I'm placing them on top and making sure that they're piping hot, believe me. I went ahead and tightened those mason jars with the rings on them. I'm using that oven glove because those are very hot. I'm flipping the containers over for 5 minutes. They will stay like that. Again, that creates that pressure seal.
So we're going to leave these turned over for 5 minutes. This is called the open kettle method of canning, and it's my first time doing it. So I'm going to see how it ends up turning out. It's going to be it was a fun way of learning how to can. I don't have all of the gears of water bath canning, so I figured we'll try it a different way. But so far so good. Peaches look great, and I can't wait to see how it ends up turning out. So it's been 5 minutes. So I flipped those cans over, and within 30 minutes we should see our ping and a seal that these are sealed up and ready to store. Okay, so I have let the can rest for most of the day today, and I feel like I've gotten a really good seal. And some of the ways that you would know if you have a really good seal on your jar is, if you look at this jar, do you see how there is kind of like a circle here, and if you push on it, it goes down. That means that this is not a sealed jar. But my peach jam that I did, if you look, you don't see that circle raised up, and if I push, there's no clicking. So I hope you enjoyed this episode with Humblebee Home and Garden. I would hope that you give it a good try. Seduce your own jams. If you have a lot of abundance of fruit, especially acidic fruit, go ahead and give it a try. For my recipe, this particular one, I didn't have as much peaches as I thought. So the recipe I'm going to display is going to be if you had 5 cups of peaches. I had about 1 pound of peaches. So for 1 pound of peaches, I did 1 cup of sugar and still 1 lemon. So that was the ratio I used. If you're doing like 12 medium to large peaches, that will yield typically a 5-cup ratio, and at that point, 5 cups of peaches, you would then want to have about 5 to 6 cups of sugar in that recipe. So I hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun being with you. I'd love to have you in my home and enjoy the rest of your day. Please subscribe and like our channel, and I will continue coming up with more things.